Well, welcome to another episode of Dad's Old Car. First up is my good friend Dallas Waring, and she's got a great story. With me is Dallas, and Dallas, welcome to our little show.
Thank you, Bill.
And I understand you had the pleasure of driving a very flash car to school.
I certainly did. When I was a kid, my father loved his cars. He had a 57 Chevy, which was also my favourite, and I actually learnt to drive in that car, and I had fun in that car. And my father also had a Studebaker, he had a DeSoto, and he had a Humber Super Snipe. My dad loved his cars. And he also had a Morris Minor. So I don't know where that fitted in, but it was there. Anyway, when I was a kid, we lived out in the country. And when I went to school, my dad let me drive the 57 Chevy. And because I thought I was really the bee's knees, you know, this girl,
I bet you did.
Young kid driving this 57 Chevy, yeah, and because I had lots of friends at school and we used to go uptown at lunchtime and cruise up and down, you know, the arm out the window.
Not looking for boys.
No, not at all, no.
Just showing off.
I'm showing off, that's it, just showing off. Anyway, I made the mistake of actually getting caught doing a wheelie in town. And so I got in big trouble for that, but my punishment, and this is the worst possible punishment I could have had, I had to drive the Morris Minor to school. Now, I lost all my friends. Who wants to go cruising town?
In a Murray.
In a Murray, yeah. So that, you know, I just wish they had have grounded me, made me go to bed early, but no, they took the 57 Chevy off me.
What colour was it?
It was a two-tone blue. It was a beautiful car.
And did it have a floor change or column change?
Oh, I can't remember.
Or was it automatic?
No, it wasn't automatic.
Oh, wow.
No, that was years ago. I honestly cannot remember, but I know the steering was very heavy.
Yes.
I was like that.
Yeah.
I was like that. And I should have been concentrating, but...
So you could see out the window okay? I mean, you're not...
I could. I was about 15 then, I think. I just got my licence. And...
So you got it in the Chevy?
Oh, yeah.
And the cop went along?
He went along with it, and when he went to get into the car that he thought I was going for my licence in, he went to go to the car behind me, which was an old Nana car. I can't remember what it was, and I said, no, officer, this is my car. And he sort of looked at me, and I thought, yeah, this is my car. Well, it wasn't until I got caught doing wheelies.
Oh, right. So they took it off you, not permanently, surely?
No, Dad didn't do that to me permanently, because I probably dropped my bottom lip and he felt sorry for me.
So what was the family car at that time? What did you sort of drive to work or just spend the day driving?
Well, Dad just had his pick of whichever car he felt like driving at the time.
And they were all in shed? They were like all lined up in a shed?
He had a shed for them all, and he religiously cleaned them, and I think the Morris was Mum's car. But Dad, he loved his old cars, and although I think back then they weren't old cars.
No. So were we talking the 60s?
Well, it depends how old you think I am.
Maybe the 70s?
No, we're talking 60s. Yeah, 60s we were talking.
And what
60s.
school did you go to?
I went to Marlborough College.
Oh, that's down to South Island.
It is, okay. Yeah, a South Island girl, but been up here for many years.
Yeah, wow.
And never driven a 57 Chevy since.
Oh, okay. So have you a desire to actually own one? Or?
Well, I think I wouldn't mind. It would bring back a lot of memories, because I do also seem to remember at one stage backing into a parking meter, but I don't think I ever told Dad about that, so otherwise I would have had the Morris Minor for even longer.
Fair enough. So what was the longest distance you actually drove that car? Like 10 miles, 20 miles, go for a holiday or something?
30, possibly 30, just into town and back. Right. 30 and then 30 back, so that's the longest I drove it.
So you're well out of town.
Well out of town, right in the country, yep. So occasionally I used to ride my horse to school too, but there's another lot of horsepower. So I preferred driving the Chevy, which that was great. And as I said, I was a really cool kid at school.
Yes, I bet you
with a 57 Chevy. I mean, who wouldn't want to go cruising?
No, and I'd want to be your friend as well.
Of course you would. I would have picked you up.
Let's go for a ride in your flash car.
That's it.
Well, that's most interesting. And if you've got a tale like that, folks, I'd just love to hear it. There's my details, and thank you very much, Dallas, for sharing that with us.
Oh, thank you for having me, Bill. It's been my pleasure to be on your show.
Absolute pleasure. Well, last week I spoke to John Campbell, and we talked about Mr. Willis and his Jeepster, which was interesting. And then the conversation got around to Willie's night, as Mr. Willis was the man who got the Jeepster going, as well as Jeeps, of course. And he teamed up with the night people, and they called it the Willie's Night. Well, here's a 1930 Willie's Night. It's the only one in New Zealand. It's a roadster, and there's about 9 in the world. This is the only one in New Zealand. It's probably the only one in the southern hemisphere. But a very rare car indeed. But what's to notice about it is the Knight logo. It's got a horse with a knight on the top of it, riding it along. It's got another logo down here with the Knight helmet, slightly oval headlights. Studebaker went the same way, around about the same time. It's got these open and close to either heat the engine up or to cool it down. Flutes that in the front, and they open from the cab. On the side of the engine here, it's got little flutes that open up as well to get a bit of air around that engine. Up on the top here, there's another couple of little flutes that open up, and that's the little bit of air going around the passenger and the driver. Plenty of room in the cab here. There's it's an interesting dashboard with little square knobs, and in the back here there's even a dicky seat. So there's like the Studebakers, there's a way to actually climb up and climb into that dicky seat, and you're sitting there with the wind going through your hair, having a great time. But we were talking about Willie's Night. Here's one, and I just thought you'd love to see it. So there it is. With me is Russell, and Russell, welcome to our little show, Dad's Old Car. And although this isn't Dad's old car, this is your first car. And you were telling me you were 19 years old. Yep. When you bought this, and that's a year or two ago. Maybe just tell us a little bit about that story.
Well, I got fascinated by Escorts, and this particular model, being a Ghia, it had a few extras that attracted me. So it's got a 1600 engine, had tinted glass, wood grain dash, quite a bit of chrome, factory mags, and all sorts of things that were
vinyl roof.
Quite modern back in 1980, yes. So I was attracted to the bling of it.
Fair enough,
yeah.
So, buying this at 19 years old, were you terrified? When you sort of negotiated a price or something, and you...
I was certainly very nervous driving it home. I drove it out of the showroom and managed not to stall it or make a fool of myself. However, I did stall it at the third set of lights.
But nobody noticed, hopefully.
Exactly, yes. By that stage I was well away from the dealership, so it was all good.
Yeah, it's all good. Exactly. So you've had this in a shed, so you drove it for a few years?
Yes.
And then you had enough of that, so you put it in the shed. Why did it go in the shed?
Oh, well, that was family things. Our eldest son had just been born, and prams and things aren't exactly
I know where you're coming
suited
from. Because I had
to
a
the
mate,
Escort.
his name was Ongo, his nickname was Ongo Bongo. Phil Doughty was his name. But anyway, he got married and we pulled up outside his house to take him fishing.
Right,
And
as you do.
he come out and sort of just, you know, and he got in the car, slammed the door, and he said, I should have married a man. Because as I said to him, you know, once you're married, you start having children, all your fishing gear and all that, all your hobbies all sort of take a back seat, you know, which is what you're saying. Yeah, so the pride and joy is put away.
So it became a wee bit impractical, and it was also getting a wee bit tired.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
The carburetor was leaking fuel, such that if you didn't use it for 2 or 3 days, it was quite hard to start. Reverse gear, and it was very, very growly, and one or two other things that sort of suggested that it was
yeah, but being
tired.
being sort of brand new off the shelf, you don't expect things to go wrong with it for a long time.
No, but this is 17 years later.
Okay,
So it got well used in its first 17 years. Yeah, yep.
So babies in the back seat, all that sort of thing.
Yep.
Yeah, fair enough. So in the shed it went, and then what happened?
Well, it sat there for 23 years.
You collected dust.
Yes, and spiders' webs and other miscellaneous things.
Right.
Yeah.
So how come it looks like this?
Oh, well, I've totally restored it.
Of course you have.
Yeah. So I knew that the motor and gearbox had seen better days, so they were all fully overhauled.
You do that yourself, or did you send it out?
No, I've got a very good friend, Murray Beatson, who organised all of that and did that work for me. And then as far as the body goes, I've rubbed it down by hand. I didn't use any machines. I was worried that leaving machine marks in it.
Oh, right, yeah.
So, for instance, the bonnet alone was a week's worth of sanding. Yeah. And so when I took it to another friend, Lee, who lives just down the road, to get it painted, he was quite blown away by the condition that it was in. And he's just made this absolutely beautiful job of painting it. And so it sort of, he upped the standard, and so I had to revisit a few things and
to keep up,
repolish the chrome and and lots of very fine details.
Did he do the vinyl, or was that always?
No, this is the original vinyl top. The vinyl top, the front windscreen and rear windscreens haven't been out of the car.
Wow,
so
really?
These are original. Back in the day, I used to nugget this. You know how you nugget your boots?
Yeah.
Well, I nuggeted this. And arguably it hasn't done it any harm.
No,
because
looks pretty good to me.
Yeah, it's got one or two little blotches, but otherwise it's pretty good. Yeah.
See this little gear badges here, and there's one on the back, and the
the script.
Did you take those all off and got them cleaned up?
Yes, I took them off and cleaned them all by hand. Yep.
Good on you.
Yep.
Yeah. And the rims are the original. What was on it when you bought it?
Yes. They've been repowder coated.
Wow.
But the car is very, very original as it left the showroom.
Sure. So what do you use it for now? Just showing it off?
It's a Sunday car.
Yeah,
yes.
of course.
Yes.
But
when I finally get to retire, I hope it will become my everyday car.
That would be lovely. Yeah. I'm just looking at the upholstery. Tell me about the upholstery.
Well,
I mean, you're saying the middle pieces
the
of it.
velour was exclusive to the Ghia models, and so we have this the rib pattern here. This is the original fabric. The velour is new and the vinyl is new. And it was redone at Tinwald Upholstery, and I've made just a lovely job of it. Yeah.
It's 4-speed?
4 on the floor. Yep.
And that little round circle, do you pull it up or push it down to get it into reverse?
You push it down and up.
Up, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
Automatic choke. Yep.
From me do it.
That's it, do it, absolutely. Yes, thank you very, very much. Okay, okay. Russell, absolutely fabulous.
Cheers.
Good on you for sharing this with us. Brand new, and you've kept it all this time and restored it back to what it was. Marvellous. So there you go, folks. If you've got an Escort, there's my contact details. Give me a call. Love to hear from you. This is a 1939 Flying Standard, and built by the British, and Standard went on to become Triumph, and it's been around a long time. British, of course, and suicide doors. My mother, Billy, had one of these, and it came from my grandmother, Olive. And Olive went on to buy a Maori Thau, and Mother got this. And the day she brought this home, we all went, yay, we've got a car, how wonderful. Because previous to that, we would lug all our luggage off to the bus. Sometimes we got flash and went in a taxi, but that wasn't very often. Most of the time in the bus and off to town. And if we were going anywhere like Turua, where Grandma lived, we had to go down to the bottom of town and get on another railways bus. Sometimes we got the train to Paeroa and she'd come out and pick us up, but yeah, most of the time it was on the bus. And yeah, we thoroughly enjoyed it. When, I think it was about the first year she had it, we were going down the Piako Road on the Hauraki Plains, and it was raining like anything. Anyway, she put the brake on and she sort of got into the spin about 3 or 4 times, and then, I don't know if you know the Hauraki Plains at all, but there's big ditches down either side with all the rainwater and all the water to drain away, and this ditch would have been 6 foot deep, I suppose. But anyway, there was a tree, a peach tree, and she wanged into the peach tree, so it's sort of lying on its side. So we all climbed out, went to the nearest house and rung Grandma, who her husband Norm Nicholson had a carrying business, so he came down with his truck and towed us out, and we all went back to Grandma's. But that was a pretty exciting sort of a day, sitting in the rain waiting for the truck to turn up. But anyway, so what we're going to do is I'm going to go for a bit of a trip down memory lane in this thing, so I'll jump in and we'll go for a bit of a ride around the block. But the old Standard, as I say, I was thrilled to bits when this turned up on our doorstep. So getting into a suicide door, you sort of back up to the door, there it is. And I don't know if you, I suppose I can just get in the usual manner. Well, look at that. 2 feet in, arm out the window. It looks like I'm sitting in the back, but never mind. Clutch, brake, accelerator. One of the interesting things is this windscreen. There's a little knob here that pushes these out and you can put them down, and the other one. Then you can turn this little handle in here and you get this air conditioning that they had back in the day, and that actually goes quite far out. But there you go, wind on your face, racing down the road 100 miles an hour. There's a smell in here. If you can smell this, it will just take you right back to the 1950s when we had it. So, is that an ashtray? Oh no, yes, no, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But anyway, we'll kick her in the guts. So you turn the key, and I guess 1939. Woohoo! And there's somebody's pinched the seat belts, but because it's 1939, of course, you don't need seat belts. It's got a clock. It's got fuel, amp meters, and oil pressure. And I think a little light comes on if it's overheating, which it probably did a few times. Push the choke in. Handbrake, 4 gears, I think. So let's go for a bit of a burn around the block. I remember my brothers and I were at home and the car was there. I'm not sure where Mum was, but I started this with a screwdriver. This little key was just a little flat key, and it was easy enough just to stick a screwdriver, turn it, and then push the starter. Then we went for a ride around the block because I could drive a tractor. I think I might have been about 12. So I was driving a tractor for George Loretz. And so I could drive this up reasonably okay. So we went around the block and put it back exactly where it was. And we thought we got away with it, but Mr. Ford, who was the neighbour, when Mum came home, he whispered in her ear and she said, "Come here, you." And she didn't give me a hiding then, but she just said, "Wait till your father gets home," which is the worst thing in the world. So he arrived home, and of course I got the thrashing from hell. So you had to get that for pinching a car. But it was fun, and it's something you did when you were a kid. Now this brings back the memories of driving along in this old car in the 1950s when we were kids. Wonderful. Push the little button here, it puts the little lever out, but when you turn the wheel back this way, it'll automatically bring it in. Nope, sorry. And you turn the wheel and it just clicks it back over again, all the mod cons. These are made of wood, these sun visor, which is quite amazing. Little ashtrays in the corner there, choke. The best of British. So we've arrived back in the shed where this thing lives. Actually easier to get out of than a normal car. Ta-da! Well, I'm at Newcoat, which is a product that Adrian Munt produces and sells. And Adrian, you do some fantastic work with kids, and there's a whole bunch of teenagers behind us there. Tell us what you do.
Look, we set up the In Our Element Trust, and it's to train kids with autism, mild intellectual disabilities, head injuries, that kind of thing, to give them some training, pre-employment stuff, just so they can help get into a job and transition from school into the workplace.
Wow.
So we do things like health and safety training, we show them drug testing, and all the things that would be pretty scary if you were to get a job. And then we also do technical skills. So these guys actually have learned how to buff and polish a car, they've learned full valeting skills, they learn how to put our Newcoat ceramic product on.
Wow.
So they love it, they get so much from it. and it just helps them set up so that they can then go into employment.
So being a car valet?
Possibly, but the reality is that the skills they're learning are applicable to a whole range of things.
Oh, okay.
It's about giving them confidence so that they can go into their first job.
Yeah. So we went to Honda today, folks, and you had a good look around Honda, and was that exciting?
Oh, look, Honda New Zealand are one of our larger customers, so they've embraced the Nuco product, and as soon as I said, hey, this is what we're doing within our element, they said, look, come on over, and I think they were very proud to be able to show us through and give us the tour and get involved.
Excellent, excellent. So how long do you think, how long have you been going?
Look, this was a pre-pilot that we put together about 6 months ago. The demand has been fantastic, so we're actually oversubscribed for next year. We're having to look at more than double that capacity. So yeah, the need is there. It is proved. We've had kids who have already got employment from doing this.
Wow.
So yeah, next year it's more than we can cope with, so we're looking at how we can expand to accommodate that.
So do you pay people, or is it all volunteer basis?
We pay our staff to come through, and we have some guest trainers, which are professional valet firms who come in sometimes to donate their time, other times we're paying them to come in and actually give specialist training. The kids that come through obviously are here for training.
Yes.
And it becomes a valuable part of their education before they transition into that workplace.
Wow. So very, very exciting.
It's hugely exciting and hugely rewarding.
There you go, folks. Some people doing some good. And behind us are all the people who have done good. Well done, guys. Anybody want to come and tell me how fantastic it is? You just stand next to me here. That's about it. Yep, thank you. What's your name?
My name is Paris.
And tell me what you're getting out of this.
I'm getting out so much. Like, I'm starting to feel more confident with talking to other people and making more friends and just having a good time and enjoying myself and enjoying others' companies, and yeah.
So you're taking all that, what you're learning on board, and you're sort of looking forward to sort of, do you have a resume?
Yeah.
Good. And part of this is what you've been doing is on the resume, so whoever wants to employ you thinks, she's trained.
Can I also say that Paris has actually started a part-time job since she's been here too.
Oh, wow.
So
Yeah,
she works for the Takapuna Lolly Shop
Yes.
on the day she doesn't come here now.
Well, well done. Good on you, Paris.
Thank
Wish you
you.
all the best.
Thank you.
So there you go, folks. Paris.
Ryan is our wheels guy, so even when we have a boat in here to be valeted, Ryan wants to do the wheels on the trailer. And he leaves wheels with no dirt on them at all. He's amazing. That's your thing, eh?
Yeah.
Ryan's also been doing work experience through us at a local tyre shop, so he now knows how to remove tyres off a rim, change tyres. In fact, my own car, he put 4 new ones on for me a couple of weeks ago.
Good on
So
you.
we're now trying to get him a job at the tyre shop,
Yep.
because it's his thing.
Right. So mags and all that is you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so mags are pretty specialised, you know, getting them clean and looking.
He knows how to clean them and ceramic coat them, and change the tyres on them.
Good on you. Yeah, good on you, Ryan. Well done.
much.
Excellent. There you go, folks. Ryan. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. Now all I have to do is sing you a happy song. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Da 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 da.